We're gonna have some fun, so just be gentle. My Dominican accent is gonna try to slow down for you and kind of get you all up to speed. Have any questions? Let me know, guys. Let's get started. This is Chapter 9 on Unstoppable Famine, Book 4 in the Intern Diaries series. So let's get started. My entire body was shaking by the time my feet hit solid ground. According to my watch, it took less than a minute, but every cell in me screamed like it had actually taken an eternity. My vision was blurred, so I leaned on the closet wall as I could find and closed my eyes. Just a little insight for everyone. At this point in time in this chapter, Death has decided that they need to go find Famine. Suspicious stuff is going on, and the only possible culprit besides Pestilence, she's innocent this time, happens to be Famine. So Death happens to take them all, literally across the country, from Texarkana, Texas to Miami. So this is the whole grab onto Death because she's going to cross the world, and this is how ISIS is landing on the other side, completely feeling all of her body going, ooh, that was a rough ride. Wow, where are we? Bartholomew asked. This place is magnificent. It took me a minute to open my eyes again. I had no idea why Bartholomew recovered so quickly, or if he was even affected the same way. My world was no longer spinning, and Bartholomew was right. We were standing in the biggest room I have ever seen in my life. The ceilings were probably 30 feet high, with intricate columns in each corner for support. A glass wall separated the main room from a huge outdoor terrace that ended with an infinity pool. Whose mansion did Wishes break into? I asked. This was the type of place you saw on MTV Cribs. White leather couches were artistically arranged in the main area, with a black leather recliner near a fireplace at the back. Everything in the room was either white or black, and it screamed wealth. This is Famine's place, Death told us. Why is it so humid here? Bob asked, waving his hand over his face. Because we're in Miami and overlooking the ocean, Constantine said, wiping down his face. Billionaire Famine owns a mansion in Miami, and this doesn't draw attention? How good was Famine at hiding their identity? Famine is Famine. That was all Constantine told us. We're going to search this whole place. Isis and Bob start upstairs and check every room, closet, and anything you can think about. The rest of us have this floor. Nobody questioned or challenged Death's order. We quickly marched to our assigned areas, hoping to find Famine. It was close to 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was dead tired. I wasn't sure how much longer I would be able to stay on my feet. I focused on one room at a time, but the mansion was enormous. We searched over 20 rooms just on the second floor. Famine had guest rooms, study rooms, library, gym, entertainment center, and even a massage room. Why will anyone get all of this? Even with Bob and me moving from room to room, it took us over half an hour to search the whole floor. Let me guess. Nothing? Death asked as we marched downstairs. This place is enormous, I answered. Do we have to search the rest of the property? Constantine asked, staring out the glass window. No, Famine is here. I can feel it, Death said. Does this place have a basement? Bartholomew asked regarding his surrounding. Bartholomew, you're a genius. Death pinched Bartholomew's cheek as she walked towards the back of the house. I know that. Bartholomew's smile spread over from one ear to ear. I'm taking that as a yes. Famine mentioned once that they created a bomb shelter as a basement. Death marched down several rooms and hallways. Why does the horseman have a bomb shelter? I couldn't help asking the question because the place was out of control. Same reason Famine needs a mansion, Death answered. Because Famine wants it. And that's not the only reason, Constantine added, strolling down the hall. I wonder if Constantine was holding back the urge to scratch the furniture. He kept extending his claws a little too often to be normal. So one of my main characters happens to be Constantine, who's a talking cat, who, as you can tell, does not care that much about Famine. Actually, let's be honest. Besides Death and maybe a little bit of war, he doesn't care for any of the horsemen. They're too much for him to handle. He just likes Death. And he's been ride or die for Death for over 1,000 years, so you know he has a soft spot. We also realize that each horseman's a little more quirky than the others, and their sylvan rivalry is out of control. So let's jump back. We arrived at the kitchen, and I was in love. I wasn't the only one. Bob walked around in circles, opening every cabinet, running his hands out the appliances. Next time we build, we're getting a kitchen like this, Bartholomew said. You two are way too happy about it. Bob and I nodded at each other and continued to stare at their granite countertops, mahogany cabinets, and the top-of-the-line appliance. Famine even had a crystal chandelier in the kitchen. I agree, this kitchen's impressive. But unless you brought us here to get a snack, shouldn't we be checking for the basement? Constantine followed closely behind Death. The entrance to the basement is here. Death pressed each of the doorknobs as she made her way around the room. Famine is also paranoid? Lovely. I shook my head. This was getting better and better. Here! Death clapped her hands together as she pulled the fridge from the wall, revealing a long stairwell leading down. This bomb shelter is not for the weak, I told Bob, who just snickered at me. Death flipped the light switch at the entrance of the stairwell. I was glad because going down creepy stairs in empty mansions was not my idea of fun. At the same time, I was ascending with Death and a 5,000-year-old talking cat, so how could I be worried? Famine was meticulous, even in the building of their shelter. The stairwell was carpeted with muffled footsteps. The basement instead was one large room with stuff, tan paneling, and recessed lights all around. Expecting an empty room, I startled when my eyes landed on a figure sitting in the middle. Famine? Death rushed through the horsemen, and the rest of us followed. Constantine had not been lying. Famine was painfully gorgeous, but completely androgynous. Aqua eyes with shimmering black hair made the contrast breathtaking. Famine was duct taped to a chair, and their pinstripe suit was now wrinkled. I didn't know what to make of the whole situation. Is that a sippy cup? Bartholomew was the first one to speak. I don't want to know. Constantine turned around and headed back towards his death, the stairway. Death? Sent me back to Texas. This is already madness. Constantine, get over here. Death ordered the whiny cat. Should we take the tape out of their mouth? The pronounced situation was going to take me a minute to get used to it. Allow me. Death volunteered, and the rest of us waited. Rip! The sound of the tape being pulled off Famine's face was awful. I waited for the scream or even profanity to come out. But instead, Famine gave Death the tenderest expression I have ever seen. Hi, Death! Famine was so chipper it was a bit overwhelming. Famine, what are you doing here? Death pointed at the empty basement. I'm kidnapped, Famine said, sitting straight in the chair. Is that possible? I asked softly to Constantine. No, it's not possible, Constantine shouted. Why are you in that chair? I told you, I was kidnapped. Famine sounded like a demented 5-year-old on sugar. You were kidnapped in your own house? Death leaned down, eyeing her sibling with raised eyebrows. Nobody knows this place exists, Famine explained. Except you and the kidnappers, obviously. Constantine marched circles around Famine. Do you know who kidnapped you? I asked, walking closer to Famine. Who's this? Famine whispered to Death. Famine, meet Isis. My North America intern, Death said. Over there is Bob, and the young man over here is Bartholomew. Do they know I'm a you-know-what? Famine was still whispering. Yes. They know you're a horseman, you lunatic, Constantine shouted. Everybody who meets you know you're a horseman, except you, of course. My kidnappers have no clue, Famine bragged. How do you know that? Bartholomew asked, trying not to stare at Famine. Because they work for me. After Famine dropped that bomb, nobody said a word. We all just stood there in dumbfounded expressions.